Hey guys, Deepak here from digitaldeepak.com and welcome to a webinar on digital freelancing. What we are going to do today is that we are going to learn a little bit of digital freelancing, about the opportunities, how you can become a freelancer, why I call it digital freelancing. And we will also go ahead and talk about some of the legal and financial things related to freelancing and how big the opportunity is. All right. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to share a mind map with you, and I'm going to run you through the mind map so that you can learn about digital freelancing. But in the meantime, I also want you to be interactive. We have 1,300 people live right now. In fact, it's 1,333 to be exact as I am talking. And I want it to be interactive where I will ask you certain questions. You can go ahead and reply. And once in a while, I will close the chat box so that it is not distracting. So how many of you here who are there in the webinar have done freelancing before? Just type DF in the chat box if you have done freelancing before, and if you have gone ahead and made some money with freelancing, just type DF in the chat box. And if you have not done it, just type no in the chat box if you have never done freelancing before. All right, so I see a lot of people who have never done freelancing before, but a lot of people have already done freelancing. So for people who have not done freelancing before, at least you know that there are a bunch of freelancers who are going ahead and saying yes. And one of the things that 2020 has taught us is that full-time jobs are not really safe, right? I hope you agree with it, because whenever the economy is running well, whenever companies can afford to hire, they go ahead and hire full-time employees. But even before the pandemic, even before the lockdown, a lot of small businesses used to hire freelancers because they cannot afford to go ahead and hire full-time employees. And a lot of businesses also hired freelancers when they wanted expert advice, and that expertise is not available as full-time employees out there. But 2020 has taught people that you can run a business virtually, you can run a business digitally. We can call it a digital startup. And you don't need to go ahead and depend on people to work full time in your office, because when people are working full time in your office, first of all, the office needs to be maintained. You need to have an internet connection. You need to keep the office clean. Then for full time employees, there is a lot of effort involved in terms of doing the payroll. You have to do tax deduction, you have to give medical insurance, you have to give benefits, then you have to give holidays. All these problems are there for businesses. And in 2020, when a lot of businesses started working remotely, they figured out that, hey, I don't need to hire full-time employees. I can just hire freelancers, and freelancers can work for me. So yeah, a lot of Uberization is happening. So thanks, Arun, for that suggestion. And you know how Uber works, right? So Uber works with contract employees, where the employees are not full-time employees of Uber; they are just partners of Uber, and that is why a lot of gig economy is now growing. And you can see Swiggy, Zomato also does not have full-time delivery boys; they are just contract workers, and they just get paid for every gig they do. They call it the gig economy. So what we can look at is that obviously we are not going to go ahead and do low end jobs. We can also do high end jobs, and freelancing opportunities are plenty available in this particular market. So by the way, we have 1,500 live attendees right now. So thank you guys for showing up. Glad to have you here in this webinar. Huge turnout today for the freelancing webinar. So let's go ahead and share the mind map. And in the mind map, I will go ahead and show you, some of the things that I wanted to talk about today. And I will also be sharing this mind map with you. So don't worry about it. And what are the things, right? These are some of the points that I wanted to talk about. There are 1 crore freelancers in India. And this is a report by PayPal. And I believe that a lot of you guys might have received an email from me, which talks about the number of freelancers in India, and how much, how many people are earning how much, right? And out of 1 crore freelancers in India, which is 10 million people, which is definitely going to go to, which will become like 2 crores in the next few years. 23%, which is 23 lakh people, earn more than 60 lakhs per annum. Isn't that an amazing income, right? So 60 lakhs per annum is like, US equivalent income, 80 to $90,000 a year. And if you want to go ahead and check this article, then I will just go ahead and show it to you. It was published in Business Today, and let me go ahead and show it to you on Google search. So here you can see this is the Business Today article, little bit of an old article, not the most recent article, but even then, like even if it is a little bit old, a year old, little bit more than a year old, it is still valid, right? Which means that right now the numbers might be even be higher. So report said that 23% of Indian freelancers earn up to 60 lakhs per year. And then we have another 23% earning between 2.5 lakh to 5 lakh. So this is as good as a full-time job and probably better than a full-time job. Why? It is better than a full-time job because let's go ahead and note down some points. So better than full-time jobs because we don't need to go ahead and have only one boss, right? So in full-time jobs, the risk is higher in full-time jobs because you have one job, one source of income, and if your boss fires you, then you will not have any income to support yourself. But with freelancing, you can have multiple clients. If you have multiple clients, then you have multiple sources of income. So imagine that you want to earn 1 lakh a month and you have a job which is paying 1 lakh a month. Isn't it more risky to have a job which pays 1 lakh a month? Because 2020 has taught us that almost every job out there is not safe, right? And what we can do is that instead of making 1 lakh a month from one job, we can have four clients and we can go ahead and charge 25,000 per month for each and every client. So even if one client goes away, you still have 75,000 a month income coming in, and you can go ahead and get one more client. But the good part is that you have to wait almost 1 year to even get 10% increment in your salary. But if you want to increase your freelancer income, you can just get one more client for, let's say, 25,000 a month, and your income will go from 1 lakh per month to 1 lakh 25,000 a month, which is a full 25% hike, right? And then you can even go ahead and hire some people, and once you hire some people, you can probably pay them and kind of grow it into an agency and make it into a business. So one of the biggest benefits working from India is that you can get clients from UK, USA, and Australia, because let's say there are small businesses who want to get website, who want to get a bunch of digital marketing stuff done. They cannot hire local agencies because the cost of the local agencies will be very high. Agreed? So what they will do is that they will outsource it to India. In India, the cost of living is less. And when the cost of living is less in India, they can probably get higher quality work done at a lower cost. And people in India can also earn well. Like, for example, recently in my internship program, I had one person, which I also mailed you about, who won a project to create website and do SEO for a business in Dubai. And he made more than $2,500 doing it, right? And how to get clients from UK, USA, and Australia is something of a little bit of a broader topic. You need to do lead generation, you need to do some outreach, and you need to probably write well, which we will talk about, which I will cover, in a much deeper way in the Saturday workshop. And once you leverage cheaper cost living in India, you have happy freelancers and you have happy customers, right? So these are the top freelancing opportunities. In fact, I will call it digital freelancing opportunities because these are the most in demand skills that people talk about. So some people are asking, hey, what is the Saturday workshop? Wait for it. Towards the end of the webinar, I will tell you about the Saturday workshop that I am doing this Saturday. And it's a very, very unique workshop where you will earn money from the workshop, right? You will earn money from the workshop, right? So let's go ahead and have a look at what are the digital freelancing opportunities that are most in demand. You have market research, creating WordPress websites, content creation, community management, social media, lead generation, Facebook ads, Google ads, SEO, marketing automation, sales. We can also go ahead and add graphic designing, and we can go ahead and talk about UI, UX, copywriting, definitely one of the areas of freelancing. And do you think we can add anything else? So content writing is content creation and marketing mein content writing aa jayega. And these are the different things that you can do. So once you have a little bit of an expertise, so video editing, so I will add it here, content writing and video editing. All right. And I would not add, other areas much. I can probably go ahead and add e-commerce. Inside social media, we can talk about Instagram, Facebook, then Twitter, and inside e-commerce, we can talk about, Shopify. We can talk about, let's say, e-commerce SEO, drop shipping. All right. So then obviously Amazon seller services, helping people go ahead and set up their Amazon store. Inside market research, we can talk about keyword research, and we can go ahead and talk about building customer personas. So I would not necessarily add affiliate marketing here, because affiliate marketing is a whole different topic. And if you become an affiliate marketer, then you can go ahead and promote other products and services and start making money by promoting them. It will not come under the category of freelancing. And yes, definitely mobile app development. I will not add blogging as a separate thing. So here we can add blogging. And social media, may we can add LinkedIn. So mobile app development and web development is also there. Web development and marketing automation. May we can talk about email marketing, and this list can keep going, guys. I will go ahead and in fact give you a copy of this particular mind map towards the end of this webinar. But now that you got a idea about what people can pay for, yes, but let's also go ahead and talk about how to become a profitable freelancer. So until now, was this useful? Was this list useful? Just type useful in the chat box if this was useful for you, whatever I have talked about, right? So I will give you this mind map also, so that you can go ahead and refer it, and I will probably go ahead and add more data inside this mind map. And by the way, we have 1,700 live attendees right now. Thank you guys for showing up in such large numbers. Glad to work with you guys. All right, so now let's talk about how to become a profitable freelancer, right? So if you want to become a profitable freelancer, and if you want to go ahead and tap into this whole wave of digital freelancing, where there are lakhs and lakhs of people sitting in their home and working. By the way, one of the advantages of freelancing is that you can work from a farmhouse or travel while you work. I mean, right now I'm working from a farmhouse. Can you believe it? I'm having a good internet connection here, and I'm there in the center of a farm. And this is my dad's place actually, and I'm living with my parents right now. And you can work from Goa if you want. You can keep traveling if you want. So that is one of the advantages you can definitely think about when you do freelancing. So you definitely need to do some research, right? You need to invest in yourself in some education. You have to let's say invest in education, right? So when you look at so many different educational fields in India, let's say engineering, medical, lawyer, CA, everything needs years and years of practice, and for everything you need to invest in your education. Why should freelancing be any different, right? You need to invest some time in doing some research, and invest some time in doing education. One of the things about freelancing is that it's not a very very recognized job profile. But that's also a good thing, because the competition is not very high. All the people who are capable of becoming good freelancers are stuck inside IT jobs like HCL, Wipro, or whatever the IT company might be. So you probably have a better opportunity here, because everybody is going ahead and working in such companies, because they want to tell their relatives that they are working in TCS or Infosys. But if you are like a little bit okay, because see, I will be very honest with you. All your relatives and all your friends are going to think that you don't have a job. When you say that you are a freelancer, they are going to think that you are just unemployed, but let them think that it's okay. Freelancer income might be a little bit up and down, but in the long term, once you build a personal brand for yourself, you will be able to earn thousands and thousands of dollars every month. You will have the freedom, you will have the time freedom, you will have the travel freedom, you will not have a boss breathing down your throat, and you don't need to visit a toxic workplace like a corporate workplace, have like a ID card, like a dog collar, right? Sorry to say that, but in my company we don't have any ID cards. We don't use ID cards. I think it's like a very old way to go ahead and work in an organization. I'm sorry if I offended anyone who is working in an IT company, but anyway, so let's be practical, right? So here you have to go ahead and do a research, and you have to go ahead and find a niche for yourself, right? If you go ahead and find a niche for yourself, then you will be able to become an expert in that niche. So I know a lot of people are saying I totally agree with you. So if you go ahead and agree with me, just type agree in the chat box if you go ahead and agree with me. All right. So, pretty much I think, everybody agrees with me. That's a lot of agreements right on the chat box. All right, fantastic. So, you have to find a niche. So let's talk about, some of the, niches, and, what are the niches that we can go ahead and, target. All right. So what are the different niches that you can, target? You can go ahead and target the medical industry and health industry. You can target the fitness industry. What are the different industries that comes to mind? Go ahead and put it in the chat box. So we have food industry, and we have fashion, we have real estate, we have salons, entertainment industry, construction, sports, automobiles, stock market, pets. Yes, definitely pets. Then we have electronics, finance, parenting, education, kids, politics, SaaS, photography, furnitures, travel, wedding. So this list can keep going on and on, guys. So I don't want to waste much time in this, but you get the idea, right? If you go ahead and try to focus on a particular niche and try to, develop your expertise in that niche, then you will be very sought after digital marketer. Like for example, let's look at one small niche, which is private detectives, right? Imagine if you become a digital marketer for private detectives in India, then there will not be much competition. When you go ahead and try to go into a narrow niche, there will not be much competition, right? So if you are known as a person who can get a particular industry to get more visibility, like digital marketing is all about amplifying your communication. Like for example, long back, like hundreds of years back, we had speakerphone, right? We had a loudspeaker. So when people wanted to go and address an audience, so imagine before the age of loudspeakers, if people wanted to address an audience, and if people wanted to rise up to a stage and talk to hundreds of people, then people had to shout. But then the loudspeaker was invented. When you had the loudspeaker, you could take the loudspeaker, talk in the loudspeaker or talk in a mic, and then you can probably address 500 or even 1,000 people, because people even standing in the last row can hear you, because now the speaker is amplifying the sound. So digital marketing is something like that, right? So digital marketing actually helps you amplify your message. Like right now, I'm talking, one person is talking, but there are 1,700 people listening to me right now on this webinar. Isn't that amazing? But getting 1,700 people live on a webinar is just part of the entire process. I can still go ahead and put YouTube videos. I can go ahead and send out an email. I can write a blog post. So as digital marketers, you are basically doing the job of amplification. When you are doing the amplification, then you have leverage, right? Instead of selling one on one, I can go ahead and sell to hundreds of people at the same time. As a politician, I can go ahead and convince hundreds of people to vote for me. Doesn't mean that I am going to become a politician. I'm just saying that if you are a digital marketer and if you want to help politicians, you can help go ahead and reach more people with digital marketing. So that is the magic of digital, right? So just type magic in the chat box if you think that digital marketing is just magic. It just takes your words and makes it amplified, makes it send it to thousands of people, right? So as a digital freelancer, if you go ahead and gain the skills of digital marketing, then you can go ahead and help people in all these industries. Imagine doctors want more visibility, right? Doctors probably want more visibility. They can do content marketing. A dentist can talk about dental health, and they can probably go ahead and try to talk about dental health to a lot of people. Fitness people want to go ahead and try to amplify their message. Food industry, everybody wants a better audience. Who doesn't want a better audience, right? So that is why learning digital marketing is very important. And one of the biggest benefits of becoming a digital freelancer and helping other companies with digital marketing is that you will also end up learning digital marketing through practice. And this practice will help you grow your own company, your own business in the future, if you like to go ahead and try to build a business. So when you look at personal branding, you need to create a portfolio, right? If people want to give you business, do you think that they will check your portfolio? So you need to build a personal brand. You need to go ahead and start a blog. You need to start writing. So even if you don't end up attracting hundreds and hundreds of visitors to your blog right away, what will happen is that you will be able to go ahead and impress the clients that you are even reaching out to. So what you can do is that you can reach out to clients, and so portfolio basically means like a personal website where you have displayed your client logos, feedback from client, so that somebody else who is trying to purchase services from you gets convinced that you are the real deal. And how to build a portfolio is something that I will teach you in the internship program and in the workshop. I want to keep it short. I want to complete this webinar by 10 o'clock. And you have to go ahead and generate leads through different tools and do outreach in bulk. So there are different tools which you can use to generate leads. I will go ahead and show you one of the tools that I have. It is called Get Prospect. So I don't know if you have heard about this tool called Get Prospect. So Get Prospect is one of the tools that can help you go ahead and generate leads via LinkedIn. So what I will do is that I have created a review of Get Prospect, and let me go ahead and show you the tool. Get Prospect. Leads. So how to generate B2B leads from LinkedIn. So that is the video I have created to show you how Get Prospect works. So what I will do is that I will give you the link to that particular video. So you can go ahead and check out that particular video. So here you can see this is that particular video. All right. So it says how to generate B2B leads from LinkedIn, and you can go ahead and generate B2B leads by using LinkedIn. And that is one of the ways you can generate leads. And you definitely have to reach out to people. And to reach out to people, what you need to do is that you need to go ahead and create outreach email, right? So once you create an outreach email, then you will be able to go ahead and try to reach out to people, convert them. So what is the type of outreach email that you have to send is something that I will cover in the workshop. And once you do the outreach, you can also do free consultations to people, right? So this is a very underrated way of getting clients, and nobody is using it, nobody is taking it seriously. But one of the best ways to go ahead and try to convert clients is to give free consultations, right? So when you give free consultation, first of all, there are two things that happen. You are demonstrating your authority, and you would like to go ahead, you can also go ahead and try to bring that reciprocity, right? Apart from demonstrating your authority, you are basically going ahead and trying to get that reciprocity going, where they feel like you have given a lot of value and they feel obligated to give you something back. So that is one of the best ways to go ahead and trigger that reciprocity. And a lot of people ask me, Deepak, if I give free consultations, won't people take those ideas and do it by themselves? Some might not. Most of the people do not have the time to focus on it, because once you give a free consultation, they will realize how hard this is to do it, and then they will ask you, can you do it for yourself, right? So if you think that free consultations can be a very, very powerful tool to go ahead and convert clients, just type FC in the chat box if you believe free consultations are going to be a great tool, right? So that's what we need to do. We need to go ahead and offer value to people. Imagine if you go ahead and consult an e-commerce store and tell them that, hey, I have suggestions for improvement. Why wouldn't they go ahead and hire you, right? You can also write a book in your niche to attract people inside your niche, and you can go ahead and do it. But one thing you cannot do is that you cannot run Facebook ads or Google ads to try to get clients, because what you are doing is that you are trying to get B2B clients, right? So when you are trying to get B2B clients, you need to reach out to people, you need to find out the people who might be benefiting from your services, and then you need to reach out to them. And once you do free consultations, you can get feedback from people. And whenever you go ahead and so some people are saying people expect everything in free, but execution cannot be free, consultation can be free. And in the consultation, you need to show them that how much money they are leaving in the table. Like for example, you need to show them that, hey, if you do SEO for your website, if you do email marketing for your website, if you do marketing automation for your website, your business can go from, let's say, 5 lakhs a month to 10 lakhs a month. You need to get people to think about the profits, otherwise they will not hire you, right? And whenever they are hiring you, you need to go ahead and try to bring them more profits, because if you don't bring them profits, then they are not going to retain you. So you need to do free consultations, you need to get feedback from people, you need to start charging small amounts and gain confidence in your value, right? So once you get feedback from people, you can put it on your portfolio. You can say that, hey, there are people who like my consultation. And even if you do a free consultation, you can put the logo of the company as your client, and you can start charging small amounts to gain confidence in your value, right? When you start consulting, so freelancing is actually doing it for them, consulting is just giving advice. So when you start consulting for people, you can start charging. Like for example, how much do you think the first consultation charge I did? It was not much. It was in 2016. And in 2016, I charged 500 rupees for a half an hour call. And when I charged 500 rupees for a half an hour call and this person actually found value in it, that is when my confidence started growing. Because I think like, okay, I have learned something. I know some things about digital marketing and these people are finding it valuable. Oh, looks like there is a market demand, right? So you need to start doing that. Even if it is a small amount, go ahead and charge it and learn how to sell. And you need to think about value based pricing, not cost based pricing. Do you know about what is value based pricing and what is cost based pricing? Let me know in the chat box. And some people are saying yes and some people are saying no. So value based pricing means that, let's say you are going ahead and giving an advice to a business, and you are going ahead and telling a business, hey, do Facebook ads, Google ads, email marketing, or whatever. You are giving some advice to the business. Do not think about what is the cost of your time. Think about what is the value that you are giving to the customer and how much the customer's business will increase. So let's say the customer's business is increasing from 10 lakhs to 15 lakhs a month. You are basically adding 5 lakhs a month extra revenue. You are adding 60 lakhs a year in extra revenue for them. And if it is that much value you are creating for the client, then you can charge even 10 lakhs for your consultancy to go ahead and set up digital marketing for them, right? So you need to think about value based pricing and not cost based pricing. And a lot of times clients will say that, hey, tum marketing kar do and I will pay you commission on sales. Do not agree for that. Always go ahead and tell them that, see, you have to create a foundation, you have to create a brand, and it will take some time. It will take 3 months to 6 months to go ahead and set up all the funnels and optimize the funnel. And for 3 to 6 months, always charge on actuals and go ahead and charge them an X amount, and on top of it you go ahead and charge a percentage commission on the sales as well. Do not let them just give you commissions on sales, because it will not work, and then you might as well do affiliate marketing, right? So that is what you need to do, and a small advice can bring lakhs of profits for a business, and you have to look for such opportunities. If you look for such opportunities, you will definitely get very good opportunities. And one of the benefits of digital freelancing is that you can immediately start making money. Like affiliate marketing, you need to build a website, you need to build traffic, and you need to wait for some time before the income starts coming in. If you want to do digital mentoring, where you are becoming an online trainer and teaching people online, in that also you need to spend some time, like 6 months, to go ahead and build a good course, go ahead and build a community and everything, right? You can definitely go ahead and do consulting, and consulting is one of the best opportunities, and consulting and freelancing are the best opportunities out there to start bringing in some revenue immediately, right? You are basically trading time for money, and you can start consulting and then go for execution. And don't think they will steal your idea, they will not. And you can go ahead and create your profile on all the freelancing sites such as Digital Market, Freelancer, Upwork. And I'm also planning to launch my own freelancing site, which is going to be called hiretoday.com. And people who graduate from the learntoday.com education website will be listed at hiretoday.com. And I think you might have heard about my plans already. So this is what I wanted to tell you about how to become a digital freelancer. And there are a lot of technicalities in how to bid for projects in freelancer.com and digitalmarket.com, and in the interest of time I will not go into it right now. So what I will go ahead and do it is that I will go ahead and talk about legal and finances when it comes to freelancing, because this is also an very important area. So a lot of people are asking, can you tell more about Hire Today? So I'm basically starting a new company called learntoday.com, and I acquired learntoday.com. So my new company is called Learn Today Digital, and I registered this company called Learn Today Digital Private Limited. That is going to be the new company I'm starting for 2021. It's an edtech company, and Digital Deepak will be one of the trainers in this website. Right now, probably the only trainer, and in the future, we will probably have more trainers. It will become an education platform, and people who graduate from Learn Today, their profiles will be listed in Hire Today. So Hire Today is a website where businesses will visit, and people who want to hire freelancers will visit, and they will go ahead and try to hire you. But your Hire Today ranking will be based on how much you have done at Learn Today. If you have done a lot of courses, then you will get better rankings at Hire Today. So that is one of the projects that I am launching, and this is how I am moving from a personal brand to actually becoming a company. And the best part is that I don't need to raise funding, because the funding is going to come from whatever training programs that I am selling right now. So then there is so it's going to be a little bit of an ecosystem, where we are also going to have affiliate marketing, we are also going to have a learning management system and everything. So internship program is going to be the primary driver of this, and people who graduate from the internship program are the ones who are going to get listed at Hire Today in the beginning. And yes, the current interns will definitely benefit from it, but it will take some time. And I'm also going to create something like a profile generator, like a resume generator, where you go ahead and input all the details, and it will create a resume for you, which you can go ahead and share with people who are planning to hire you. So it will be like hiretoday.com/your username, and you can just share this link as an online resume. And we are going to have some fancy graphics and everything for your profile. So this will take some time. It's a long-term plan, and anyway, I will go ahead and keep you posted about it. A lot of people are saying positive comments, in the chat box. So thank you. So basically now let's talk about legal and finances. And after I talk about legal and finances, let's go ahead and tell you about the workshop that I am doing on Saturday. And this is a very different workshop where you will earn money from the workshop, right? Just like my internship program, it's like a mini program for people to, try to get a taste of the internship program even before joining the internship if people want to join. The timing is going to be from morning to evening. You will also get the recording of the workshop, but wait for it. Another 5-10 minutes, I will go ahead and tell you more about the weekend workshop that I'm doing. But coming back to the legal and finances, this is something very important that interns need to know. I mean, everybody, digital freelancers need to know. So if you are going ahead and getting Indian clients, then GST is applicable, right? GST is applicable if you are going ahead and getting Indian clients. So what is GST? So GST rate is 18%, which means that if you charge 1 lakh for a client, then you need to go ahead and charge 1 lakh, 1 lakh 18,000, right? So 18,000 becomes GST. But if the client has a GST number, then this 18,000 GST will go ahead and sit inside their GST number, and they don't need to pay that GST because they can balance it off with the sales that they are making, right? So when you go ahead and charge GST of 1 lakh 18,000 and the client pays you GST, what you can do is that you can go ahead and take that GST as input credit, and you can balance it off with the purchases that you do. So let's say you go ahead and buy a computer for 1 lakh 18,000. The computer might charge you, there might be a charge of 18% on the computer, so that GST gets balanced with this GST. All right, you understood how it works. So let's say we have, I will just go ahead and take one name here. So some people are saying, no, I don't understand how it works. So let's say Manoj. So Manoj is running a company, and Manoj is going to go ahead and give me services. So I'm purchasing services from Manoj, and Manoj is giving me SEO services, let's say. So Manoj will have a GST number. I will have a GST number. So when Manoj is charging me 1 lakh, he will charge me 1 lakh plus 18% GST, which is 1 lakh 18,000. So how much Manoj will charge me? So Manoj will charge me 1 lakh 18,000, right? So when I go ahead and pay 1 lakh 18,000, that 18,000 tax that I am paying is basically something that I can take as an input credit, because when Manoj is filing his GST returns, he will be giving me a GST invoice where my GST number will be there. So that GST number is something that I can take, and if I don't do any sales at all, then I have to pay 1 lakh 18,000 if I am an end consumer. But if I go ahead and let's say have some sales myself, right? So if I go ahead and sell something myself, so if I sell services for 1 lakh where I will be charging 18% GST, then that GST can be set off with the GST that I pay. So there is an input credit and output credit balance that is happening. Understood? So this is something that your CA will take care. This is something that your CA will take care, and you don't need to break your head over it, except that you need to know that if you are doing business in India, then you need to have a GST number. All right. There will be a carry forward, which means that you don't need to pay GST for everything. I know that a lot of people are saying little understood. What I can do is that I can go ahead and try to explain you. So there are GST numbers for individuals also. If you are an individual, and so up to 20 lakhs a year in income, you don't need to go ahead and file GST. So let me go ahead and share a small sheet, and I will explain you how this works. All right. I think this sometimes even is confusing for me, right? So let's say Digital Deepak is offering a service, and let's say we have Manoj offering a service. So what service Digital Deepak is offering? Digital Deepak is offering email marketing services. Manoj is offering SEO services. And let's say there is Apple. All right. So Karthik, please don't keep copy pasting. We will get back to that question. It's very irritating when you keep copy pasting. Sorry for that. So let's say we have Apple. All right. So Apple is selling iMac. Apple is selling iMac. So just for an example, let's say I am charging 1 lakh. Manoj is charging 1 lakh, and Apple is charging 1 lakh. All right. For the computer. So if Manoj is buying from Deepak, all right, if Manoj is buying from Deepak, what I will do is that I will create an invoice, all right. So the invoice will be 1 lakh plus 18% GST. So it will be 1.18 lakhs, and I will give GST invoice with Manoj GST number. All right. I will give GST invoice with Manoj GST number when Manoj is buying an email marketing service from me. So what will happen is that, let's say Manoj has a GST number. All right. So let's go ahead and just put GST here. So these are the GST balances of people. So let's say Manoj has a GST number. So Manoj will get 18,000 in his GST account. All right. Manoj will have 18,000 rupees in his GST account. And I would go ahead, and when I go ahead and file taxes, I would pay 18,000 to government, but it will go to Manoj's GST number. But let's say Manoj does not have a GST number at all. Then this 18,000 goes to government, right? Government will keep that money. But Manoj, if Manoj has a GST number, and if Manoj gets the GST invoice from me, then Manoj will have a GST input credit of 18,000 rupees. All right. So now let's say Manoj is going ahead and buying an Apple computer. So what he will do, he will go ahead and buy the computer for 1.18 lakh, right? If Manoj goes ahead and buys an Apple computer for 1.18 lakh, then he will have 36,000 rupees in the GST input credit. All right. So Manoj, let's assume that Manoj has a GST number and he's a registered dealer. So now, since he has the GST input credit of 36,000 rupees, and if Manoj is not going ahead and selling any services, he is just buying a service from Digital Deepak, he is buying an Apple iMac, he can go ahead and get a refund of this 36,000 rupees. Whether that refund comes to you properly or not is a different question. We will go ahead and debate it some other day. But Manoj will go ahead and get a refund of 36,000 rupees. All right. He can withdraw the 36,000 rupees as far as I know, but always consult a CA for this. I am not a CA myself, so I am not legally provisioned to go ahead and give advice. But let's say now Manoj is going ahead and selling services. Let's say Manoj is going ahead and selling services, and let's say Manoj is selling a service for 5 lakh. He's selling a SEO service to someone else for 5 lakh. Now he has 36,000 input credit already, right? So if Manoj is selling a service for 5 lakh, and if he has to charge GST for an Indian client, then he will do 5 lakhs plus 18% GST. So what will happen is that Manoj will charge 5.9 lakhs. Now Manoj, instead of paying 90k GST to government, he will pay 90k minus 36k, which is basically 90 minus 36 is 54. So he will pay only 54k GST to the government because he already has an input credit of 36,000 rupees. All right. So we have a CA in the house as well. Venkateshan is saying, so put simply, B2C, there is no input credit. B2B, there is input credit available. So if you become B2B, if you are selling services, then you can avail input tax credit with every purchase that you do. Like for example, if you buy a TV, then you can have almost 28% GST if it is 32 inches or higher. If you buy an AC also, you have GST input credit. So as long as you go ahead and so this is to avoid double taxation, right? This is cascading tax where only the end consumer ends up paying tax. If you are a business, then you go ahead and balance it off. So now, is it clear, guys? Just type clear in the chat box if this concept is now clear for you. All right. So this is a very complex system, but this is the same system that they follow in a lot of different countries. And some people are still not clear. So I think, so what is TDS? TDS is another big headache where for every payment you have to deduct tax deducted at source. So TDS comes under direct taxation, GST comes under indirect taxation. So इतना मुश्किल है इंडिया में business करना. You have to see the positive in it, because if it is so difficult to do business, then the competition will also be less. That is the only way you can make sense of all this. But that's how I try to convince myself, right? When there is so much complexity, then you need to go ahead and probably have less competition. But anyway, this is GST, simple, but I know that I don't want to convert this into an accounts class, but this is some basics that you need to know, because with every purchase you will go ahead and get a GST input rate, especially even if you buy something like a hosting service, then you are going to go ahead and have a GST component in it. And if you give your GST number, they will give you a GST invoice. But if you go ahead and spend some money on let's say $1,000 on an email marketing tool, usme bhi GST pay karna hai. It's something called a reverse charge, which is very complex. I will not get into it right now. All right. So this is only indirect tax. When it comes to direct tax, then there is a whole different issue. But when you go ahead and talk about income from foreign, right? Income from foreign in US dollars, then you don't need to pay GST on it. There is no GST on income from foreign. So, but if somebody pays you $2,000, $3,000, whatever income is coming, then there is something called a FIRC certificate that you need to get from the bank to prove that this is a foreign income and not a local income. So foreign inward remittance certificate, FIRC is called foreign inward remittance certificate. And this does not apply to foreigners. This is for Indians. This is for Indians basically. And that is something that you need to get to prove that your income has been international and there is no GST on it. Whenever you go ahead and do business, form a proprietorship, LLP, partnership, private limited, an income tax you have to pay separately. That is against the PAN number. You have to do TDS. You will have TDS. You have to get a refund on it. Bahut sara kaam hai. That is why CAs in this country have jobs. If it is very simple, then there is no need of CAs in the country. So I think some conspiracy is going on where they made all these so complex so that CAs can have jobs, but I will not get into it right now. Why no GST on foreign income? Chitra is asking, because GST is something that the consumer pays for consumption tax. So since the foreigners are in a different tax regime in a different country, then there is no need to go ahead and pay tax for them, right? So maintain a Google Sheet with all debit and credit transactions. So whenever you are going ahead and opening a company, have a separate account for all the company transactions. Maintain a Google Sheet or a Excel sheet for each and every debit and every credit transaction. If you have a freelancer working for you, like a sub freelancer, like a contractor, if you go ahead and pay them 50,000, then you need to do 7.5% TDS on it. Earlier it was 10%. So if you are paying someone 1 lakh, you cannot pay 1 lakh. You need to get their PAN number. You need to pay them 92,500. And when you pay them 92,500, remaining 7,500, you have to go and deposit it inside their PAN number so that they can file it along with their income tax returns. So yeah, it's very difficult. I agree. So some people are saying so confusing. This is something your CA will take care. Maybe you can watch this recording again. But this is something that is basic that you need to know. So basically, what we can see that whenever there is an income, there is a little bit of a problem. Whenever there is a payment, there is a little bit of a problem. So the friction for incoming payments and outgoing payments is a little bit high right now. I wish it was a little bit easier. I wish that income can come in and go out, with much less friction, and probably in the future, it will probably, get better. So what I will do is that I'm planning to, create a separate webinar which is going to be about income tax, and it is going to be about GST and taxation for people, and that is something that I will go ahead and create for you. I hope that that it will be useful for you. So what I am planning to get is that planning to get an accountant or a CA or a CA final student to go ahead and give you all this help. All right, so did you find the webinar useful until now? Just type useful in the chat box. If you found it useful, you can put it as all panelists and attendees and say that it is useful. And now let's go ahead and talk about the interesting part. And now you know that there is so much involved when it comes to freelancing, that we cannot cover it in a 1 hour webinar, right? We probably need like a 1 full day workshop to go ahead and learn about freelancing. So I think a lot of people might have heard about my internship program. So my internship program is basically a program which is a 4 month program, and it costs a little bit of money, but you also get back everything, and you end up earning more than what you paid in the internship program. That is how the internship program is done, where for every assignment you are earning money. But what I am launching today is that something like an internship program, but much simpler than that. And what I'm going to do today is that I'm going to give you a link where you can sign up for a 1 day workshop. The 1 day workshop will go from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., but not continuously. We will start at like 10:30 a.m. Do it for like 2 hours until 12:30. Give you a break, give you some exercises. Come back by 3:30. Do it until 5:30, and probably do some more exercises. But guess what? You are going to pay 500 rupees for this. Not even 500, 499 rupees for this workshop. But if you attend the workshop, and if you go ahead and complete the assignment on the day of the workshop, if you are live on the workshop, you are going to earn 600 rupees. So you are going to put in 499 and you are going to get back 600, which means that you are going to make a profit of 101 rupees. All right. So is this interesting? Just type wow in the chat box if you think that this is interesting. So basically what I'm doing is that to make you learn and to make you sit in the workshop from morning to evening, I'm basically paying you 100 rupees for it. That is the entire strategy. And why am I doing this? That it's just like a taster, just like a little bit of what do I say, it's a little bit of a sample to understand how the internship program itself works, right? So that maybe tomorrow I can get you to do the internship program. So basically I'm losing money here. I'm losing 100 rupees for every attendee, but you need to attend the workshop. If you don't attend the workshop, I will refund that 499. If you attend the workshop, you are getting 600. All right. So I hope you find this interesting. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go ahead and share the link with you. I'm going to call this workshop a Get Paid to Learn workshop. All right. So this is on Saturday, December 12th. Let's have a look at it. So digital freelancing workshop, get paid to learn, earn 600 rupees. You pay 499 rupees, and towards the end of the workshop, I'm going to pay you on the same day. I'm going to pay you 600 rupees, where you can make 101 rupees profit. But you will also learn more about digital freelancing, because the crux of this entire thing is that you are going to learn, right? You are going to learn how to get projects. I'm going to share with you sample templates, outreach templates. I'm going to ask you to generate leads and reach out to clients. Then I'm going to give you a small assignment. Everybody will be able to do the assignment. There are no failures here. And I will also talk about how I do projects, right? I got big projects where we used to charge the client 5 lakhs a month. And I will tell you, how we handle that project. I will also tell you negotiation tactics and how to go ahead and do the negotiation tactics and everything. So if you have enrolled, just type enrolled in the chat box. I will go ahead and give you the link, and it is just going to be. So here I will not be doing any replays of the webinar. If you do not attend the webinar, then you will not earn money. If you attend the webinar, you will earn 600 rupees. All right. This is the offer. I think this is an irresistible offer. If existing interns want to join, you can join. There is nothing wrong in it. It will be an experience. You will still earn extra 100 rupees as well. But this is more like for people who want to get a taste of the internship program. The internship program probably covers a lot more than what I will cover in the workshop. You will also get whatever I cover in the workshop in the internship bonus videos. So you can go ahead and do it. So 500 rupees, guys, no brainer. But I'm not even asking for money. I'm saying that I will pay you money. And this is the kind of the crazy deal I have for you, where I am paying you to learn. So go ahead and enroll. All right. So let's look at some of the comments coming here. So Syed Mohammed Hussein, long comment. Why don't you mail me at deepak@pixeltrack.com? Raman Sharma, yes, in the intern freelancing bonus class, I will be covering it. If you are missing the workshop, then you missed the workshop. The entire idea to pay you to learn is to make sure that you attend the workshop. All right. So what all will be there in the assignment? It will be easy, guys. I don't think I need to explain myself that much. It's a no-brainer. All right. So go ahead and enroll. We will have a good experience on Saturday. If you're already batch 9, it's optional. Deepak Kumar, it's optional. If you want to enroll, you can enroll. If not, it is still going to be fine. So I will share the link with you again. So Tushar is saying it's a great way to reduce friction and resistance at low scale and get their code down to generate tests. Absolutely. That is the plan. Saurabh, sorry. Yes, I will go ahead and create separate playlist for my YouTube channel. So sharing the link again with you guys, and I'm going to have a limit of 500 people for this workshop because I don't want to take, too many people into this workshop either. And that's the entire deal, guys. That's the entire deal. And just go ahead and type joined in the chat box. You can go ahead and put all panelists attendees. Just type joined in the chat box if you have joined. All right, fantastic. Glad to see so many people joining. I mean, come on, who does not want to learn and also end up making money by attending the workshop? So some people are asking, is it in Bangalore? No, this is an online workshop. It will be on Zoom. It will be morning 2 hours, evening 2 hours with a little bit of break in between. All right, guys. So I will go ahead and stop the recording right now.